Did you know that there's a simple tool that can help you transform your life? Whether it's a new career, a healthier lifestyle, or more meaningful relationships, a digital dream board can help you get there. Focusing on your goals and manifesting where you want to be is really powerful. And one of the best ways to do that is by using words and images that you see every day. In this video, I'll show you my process for creating the digital dream boards that I use to inspire and motivate me every time I see them. I'll be using Pinterest and Procreate for this, but you could follow a similar process in other programs as well. You'll learn how to set powerful intentions, choose images that resonate with you, and create a digital dream board that inspires you to take action. I've also got a bonus for you in the Procreate section, so stay tuned for that. I know this is mainly a design and creative channel, but before we get to that part, we actually need to back up and do a little bit of intentional goal setting, or this really doesn't work. Pick a time frame that works for you. It could be quarterly, it could be monthly. I generally set bigger quarterly goals, but for what I'm going to do today, we're going to look at my monthly lock screen because that's the one that I'm going to demo for you. There are a bunch of different themes or categories in which you could set your goals. I'm going to put a bunch of them up on the screen right now. The main thing you need to do is just choose a few of these to focus on for the time frame, whether that's this month or this quarter. Otherwise, you're going to get overwhelmed if you try and focus on too many things at once. If you want some more detailed guidance on goal planning, I have some great worksheets for that in my Be Positive on Purpose digital planner. This is a sample of one of the goal sections from my 2023 digital planners. Basically, this walks you through the whole process of creating and setting some goals. It talks about how goals need to fit into your vision and be measurable. It gives you some of those categories and then encourages you to set up to 3 goals for a quarter. If you're doing this monthly, this could vary as well. But you can fill in the goal area, talk about why it's important to you, some action steps and milestones, and then how it's going to feel at the end, what rewards you're going to get for yourself, basically what you're going to achieve when you complete your goal. So whether you use this version or something else, just find something that works for you so that you can have these written down and you can measure them at the end. Once you've completed your goal planning and setting intentions, we're actually going to be able to use those as keywords or themes when we're searching for images for the dream boards. Our next step is to hop over to Pinterest and start finding some of those images. Now your goals are going to be very specific to you. So we're not going to look for those right now, but any of those goals that you set, you can pull keywords out of them and use those to search as well. I'm going to show you some of the other keywords that I search for when I'm making a dream board. Generally, I'm doing these monthly right now, so I am finding some kind of a theme and or a color palette that I'm pulling in as well. As I'm getting ready for August, I might search August aesthetic and see what kind of images come up here. And this is where I kind of start to think about what color palette I want and what kind of a theme I want overall for my dream board. Something that would fit into my goals. Now I really like this quote, "Let the good times roll." I like the look of it and the color palette, so that might be something that I would save. You have a couple different options when it comes to saving the photos. You can either download them directly to your device, or you can save them to a Pinterest board first. If you have limited storage space, or you're not sure exactly which ones you want to use yet, or you think you might want to save them later, those are all good reasons to save them to a Pinterest board. You can always download them from your own board later on. I'm going to just go ahead and download this for now. And on Pinterest, you'll also get related or similar images once you save one. So sometimes this is a great place to look as well. This chill out one is in a similar color palette. I'm kind of liking that. Sunshine and saltwater. And some of these, if they're promoted, it's not as easy to save the image. And I generally just skip those. I could take a screenshot of it. I'll go ahead and show you that. So basically you just take your Apple Pencil and you slide it up from the bottom left corner like that, and then you can just crop this down. And then hit done, and I'm gonna save to photos. So if it won't let you actually download from Pinterest, that's an alternative that you can do. I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up and save a few of these images, and then we're gonna do a couple other searches. And as you can see, I'm getting some quotes mixed in here already as we go. And that is something that I might actually look for separately if I didn't find enough. So another search that I often do is I would pick the color or the theme and then the words inspirational quote. Inspirational quotes are going to vary for everyone. What's inspiring to me may not be for you. Make sure that you look through these and find ones that resonate with you. So depending on what some of your goals are, you might put that in there with the words inspirational quote. Or you could just do a color. So I'm kind of having this yellow, orange, and teal motif happening just because that's kind of what I was drawn to right now. So let's go back to the search and type teal inspiration quote. And now we get a whole bunch of other ones that might fit in with that. Now, often you will find more monochromatic quotes this way. You see these are all pretty much just teal. If I want to find some that are multicolored, I might switch this up and change it to summer and see what we get there. Now we're getting multiple colors again. Another way that you can search is by the season. So we could do summer aesthetic, and you can add words like wallpaper, background, things like that as well. And those will give you more patterns generally, but you'll also get some of these really nice photos as well. See if any of these resonate with you and your goals and what you want to be doing in this season, whether that's this month, this quarter, whatever you decided in that last section. Spending time at the pool, that's a good idea. Let's save that one. Make sure you take your time with this. You want to choose images that are going to inspire you and help you stay motivated and focused on your goals. Next, we're going to hop into Procreate and actually start setting up our dream boards. This is the funnest part. Here we are in Procreate, and we're going to go ahead and set up a new canvas by tapping this plus icon here. Now, I do recommend using a square canvas for this. I'm going to use this 3000 by 3000 is fine. That's a little bit big, but it's just one I have handy. Generally for this, I use something more like 2400 by 2400. We're basically just going to find your device's screen size and use a square of the largest dimension. The reason that I set this up as a square canvas is because of the rotation of my device. If you're going to use this on your phone, it's less of an issue, but especially on an iPad, you want to be able to fill the whole screen with your dream board. So when my iPad looks like this, I want to make sure the screen stays filled even when I rotate it. Now, one of my best tips for creating your dream board in Procreate is to keep everything on its own layer as much as you can. That way you have a lot more freedom and flexibility to move things around. When I'm setting up my dream board, I usually start with the background pictures first, and then I add on top of that. Let's see what we've got. I'm gonna go over here to my wrench, that's the actions menu, and either insert a file or insert a photo, depending on where you saved them. If you just downloaded from Pinterest, they should be in your photos. But if you downloaded them and saved them all in a folder in your Files app, then that's where they'll be. Insert a photo, and I'm going to grab one of my background ones. I'm going to reduce this down so I can see the whole page. You just want to cover the edges or get close to them. I'm going to make sure I'm covering the top and the bottom, but I'm not going to worry about the left and right sides on the very edges because I have a plan for that at the end. I'm going to try and keep this to about a 3-column grid. That kind of layout seems to work pretty well for these. And I'm going to add a new layer and insert another photo. And just remember, anything that's coming off the edge is going to actually be cropped. So if you're not sure how much of it you're going to use, make sure you keep it all on the page for now. Add a new layer, insert a photo. And we can adjust these later. But for now, just gonna get them all on the canvas and then we can play around with them. I'm gonna do that and then we'll be right back. Now I've got my base layer set, although they are all on their own separate layers. I'm gonna go ahead and group these. I'm gonna tap on the very first one and then right swipe on all of these other ones and hit group and just collapse that. And I can go ahead and rename this back just so I know those are the ones in the background there. And then I can tap a new layer here, insert a photo, and I'm gonna move on now to the quotes. And these are ones that generally I like to cut out into different shapes, and I'm gonna show you how we do that. Let's start with this one that actually looks like a sticker. I'm gonna go ahead and just keep it in the middle there. And sometimes it's easier to just temporarily turn these back ones off with this check mark, just so we can isolate this one. Come to the selection tool, make sure freehand is selected. You might want to zoom in a little bit. And then you can just draw around what you want to keep, or vice versa. You can make whatever shape you want. Now I'm doing this really fast and rough. I would take more time with this normally, but I just want to give you the idea. And then I will copy and paste to put that on a new layer. And then we can just get rid of that one. But as you can see, it's super rough. I would have done a better job of cleaning up those edges, but it's just so you can see the process here. So if we turn these back on, now we have this one on its own layer here. And we can move this and resize it wherever we want. We're gonna make it a little more 3D in a minute. So there's a few more of these. I'm gonna go through that process. I'll show you one more, a little bit of a different way to cut them out. New layer, insert a photo. This one, this chill out, if we tap and hold on this, that also isolates it, which is kind of handy. The selection tool, if you choose ellipse, and then you just drag, you can actually get a different type of selection there. You got to be a little more precise about where you start it to make sure that you're getting all of it inside there. But that's a quick way to cut it out inside of an oval. Hit copy and paste. Delete that one, and now everything's back. And we have this one cut out like that. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of the quotes on here, and I'll be right back. Here's a pro tip. You can use an app like Widgetsmith to create aesthetic, inspirational widgets on your home screen, just like these. That's a pretty good amount of stuff on here. And of course, you can always adjust things and move them around. This one here looks pretty pale compared to everything else. So I may go back in here, select that layer. You can turn it on and off real quick and make sure you're on the right one. You can come up here to your adjustments and do a lot of things here. I'm gonna come to hue, saturation, and brightness for starters and turn the saturation up to bump up those colors. Maybe take the brightness down just a hair, and that's helping already a lot. You can also play around with the curves in this menu. And that will adjust some of that saturation and color as well. And it's a little bit more vivid now, which I like. The next thing that we're going to do, and it's totally optional, but I think it gives it a really nice look. As you can see, this one already has a little bit of it built in, and I didn't cut it out very well, but it was there, is we can actually make these to look more like digital stickers by giving them a drop shadow. Let's go ahead and do it on this one. We're gonna isolate this one for now so we can see what we're doing. What we need to do is just give it a white outline and then a drop shadow. You don't have to do the white outline. I think it looks nice for a sticker. For this, we're actually going to change the background color so we can see what we're doing. Kind of a medium gray. And you want to add a layer underneath. Change this to white by double tapping. And then grab any of your monoline brushes. Pretty good size. Let's see, that's a pretty good size there. And then you're just going to outline this by hand. And your outline can be as thick or as thin as you want. Just try and smooth out the end there. And then you can fill it in with color drop. You can see that white's all filled in now. And then all we need to do is just duplicate this and turn it black. Duplicate that layer by swiping to the left. Select the bottom one. We're going to turn on alpha lock by either tapping on the layer or taking 2 fingers and swiping to the right till you see that checkerboard there. Switch back to black. Fill the layer and then turn that alpha lock back off. Now we're going to come up here to the arrow, which is our transform tool, and we're just going to slide that shadow over a little bit. You can tap over here to just nudge it, or if you want a big shadow, you can actually drag it over there and move it. And when you're happy with where your shadow is and how big it is, tap over to your adjustments menu and go down to Gaussian blur. And then we're just going to slide across until we like the size of our shadow. Now that already looks pretty good as a sticker. If we bring this background back here, you can see it's starting to kind of pop off of the page there. You may want to adjust the opacity of it a little bit, of the shadow, by tapping this little N, and you can slide that to see how much shadow you want. Another fun little trick with this, to give it a little more realism, is to make the sticker look like it's peeling or stuck way down in a couple of spots. And we can do that with the liquify tool. Come back up here to your adjustments and go all the way down to liquify. You want to be on push, and that size is probably too big. Yeah, that's way big. Now I'm going to go down to 20%. It's pretty good on this size of a canvas. And then you can play around with the rest of these to see how much movement you get there. And then you can just kind of nudge that shadow around. So if you push the shadow back in, it's going to make the sticker look like it's stuck further down onto the page. There's less separation. And if you push the shadow out, it's going to look like it's peeling up a little bit more. Let's turn this off so you can see a little better on here. Oops. I'm going to go back to the liquify tool. Two-finger tap to undo. So as I'm nudging that shadow out, it kind of looks like this edge is peeling up a little bit more. And if we push in here, this side is appearing more like it's stuck down. So you can really get kind of granular with your shadow here if you really want. That is looking pretty good. Now I would go ahead and do this for the other quotes as well, so they will stand out a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and change my background color back to white. The last thing that I do after I get all of my stickers done is I like to put a little bit of a white gradient on both sides. To do that, I'm just gonna group my stickers as well. It's actually gonna be really helpful to group the stickers as you make them. It's just gonna keep your layers panel nice and clean. You wanna come to the very top and add a new layer. Choose white. And then you just want a soft brush. This one can be found in the airbrush set that comes with Procreate. And I'm gonna use a pretty good sized brush. This is about 40% or so. And I'm gonna start at about half opacity, about 50. And then I'm just gonna brush along the side here until I start to see the edge fade. Now you want it to be a lot thicker where this harsh edge is, and then it's going to get lighter as it goes in. And I don't want to cover too much of my design, so I might take my brush size down just a little bit more until I fill in where that harsh edge is. And you basically just want to get it blended. And you really only need to do one side, get it looking pretty good. And then you can just duplicate that and come to your transform tool and choose flip horizontal. Make sure that your snapping is turned on, and then you can just drag it across to the other side until it snaps into place. And once we got those other stickers done, this would be good to go. So let me do that and then we will come right back. Now we've got all of our stickers in 3D and popping out. We've got our images that are resonating with us as far as some of the goals we want. We've got our inspirational quotes, and we are good to go. The last thing we need to do is export this image and get it loaded on our lock screen if that's where you're going to put it. Otherwise, you could email it to yourself, you could print it. You just want to make sure that you put it somewhere where you're going to see it often and it's going to remind you of the goals that you set. To export, we're going to go to our wrench, our actions menu, and go to share. I'm going to go ahead and export this as a JPEG. And I'm just going to save the image. Now we're going to come to our settings app and go down to wallpaper. Now we're going to choose a new wallpaper from our photos and just grab that one that we just made. And now it's going to show you what it will look like. And if you rotate it, you'll be able to see the difference of what the image looks like in portrait and how much of it you can actually see. You can move it around. Versus landscape. And I almost always use my iPad in landscape, so that's generally how I set it. And then when you're happy with that, just choose set, and you can set your lock screen or your home screen or both. I generally use this just for my lock screen, and then I do something a little bit different with my home screen. So I'm just going to do that, set lock screen. And now when we turn this off and back on, we have our new dream board ready for us every time we turn on the iPad. For my home screen, you can see I do follow a similar theme. This one is from July. I have a color palette that I follow, and then I do set up some of these quotes as little widgets using Widgetsmith, that app that I told you about. These are basically just photo widgets of different sizes. So these are the small ones, these are medium, and these are the large ones. These are some other widgets that are available in that app, and then you can choose to customize the colors and all these backgrounds and all different things like that. I am using the pro version of that, but there are a lot of options available in the free one as well. I do have a whole other video about how I set up my home screen, and if you'd like to watch that, I'm going to link it in the description down below. I hope you found this helpful. I love showing people how to combine creativity and technology on this channel. If you enjoyed it, I would appreciate it if you gave me a quick thumbs up down below. It really helps out my small channel and just tells YouTube that more people should watch this. I would absolutely love to see your digital dream boards. Make sure that you share them on Instagram and tag me at Lori Russell Design. If you enjoyed that bonus and you want to make more digital stickers in Procreate, make sure you check out this video next.